Can you say hello?
Hi.
Hi. What did you just say?
I said hi.
What did you say before that?
I said.
You said you're my gardening.
I said I'm your gardening buddy.
You are my gardening buddy.
Hi.
Hi. So this is Micah. How old are you, Micah?
I'm 4.
That's right, you're 4. So he's gonna help me today. I decided to shoot a garden tour for you guys. I really wanted to just kind of document what's going on in my own garden, what plants I have growing now and what stages they are at. Really for my own knowledge, but I thought I would share it with you guys as well. So we live in South Carolina. We live in zone 8A, and our last frost day is somewhere between April 10th to April 15th, depending on what source you check. So we're really coming close to the time of being able to plant our summer garden.
And we are planting seeds.
We did plant some seeds. Today is March 31st, so I thought I would show you around. Hey! So today is March 31st, so I thought I would show you around so you can see exactly what we have going and what I will call our pre-season garden tour, since the summer gardening season hasn't technically started yet. But we have a few things going, and I thought it'd be fun to show you what we have. So you ready to go, Micah?
Ready.
Ready. So I should explain to you that I technically have 2 gardening spaces. Where we are right now is my house in my backyard. We live in a neighborhood, and we have a few raised garden beds and some assorted pots and things, and a few flowering things around our house, which I'll show you. But I have this gardening space, and then I have my big, large no-dig garden that I'm preparing on my parents' property because they have land. And I've showed you a few of those videos in the past about how we're preparing that no-dig garden. And once I finish showing you around here, I'll take you out there and show you the few things that I have growing there. Alright, so I apologize for the grass in advance. We really need to cut the grass. It has grown up a lot. But back here in my yard, I have several grow bags full of potatoes. And this is one pot that I put out here. I've never grown beets before, and I have some planted in my big garden, but I decided to try some out here. So in this pot is a collection of just different types of beets, and I actually have a few watermelon radish seeds that I plugged in there to see how those grow. These are all my potatoes. So this is a red Norland potato. This is another bag of red Norlands. This is a Yukon Gold. These are a blue Adirondack blue. And this is actually a potato from a grocery store, just a grocery store russet potato that I decided to try to grow to see what would happen. Now, I've not grown potatoes before, and I know that as they grow, I need to start mounding up either straw or dirt up on the stems to encourage more potato growth. But some of these are really growing at different rates of speed, and like this little guy here, he's kind of short compared to this guy here, and I know that I need to mound them up, but if I mound them up too high and I cover this one up, will it kill it? Or do I just mound to the lowest one? Or do I just keep mounding all the way up till just the very tip tops are uncovered? I asked my friend who has grown potatoes before, and she says just keep going, that they're really resilient, and even if you cover up this little sprig, it'll live and it'll continue to shoot through. But let me know, guys. Do I just mound up and risk covering up this little guy, or should I wait till he gets taller? Anyway, so these are my potatoes in the backyard. And then if we pan over to my house here, I'll show you my raised beds. So behind me here you see 2 raised beds. I asked my husband to build these raised beds for me back about 3 years ago when we first bought this house. And at the time I was very interested in gardening, but I really didn't know very much. So these beds are on the north side of our house, And in the spring and summer, they really get lots of good sunlight. But during the winter, because of the angle of the sun in our house, these two beds get zero sunlight during the winter. So I tried to grow some winter hardy things like cabbages and broccoli, and they really just did not do well because of the sunlight. And I didn't know that until I tried. But now I have that information, and from now on, when I try to grow winter stuff, I'm gonna do it out in my big no-dig bed that's new that I just prepared this year. So let me show you what we have here. So again, I apologize for the weeds, but this is some, what are you called? This is some garlic that is growing. This is a bulb of garlic from the grocery store that sprouted. And this is really just an experiment to see if they really grow or not. I've heard conflicting information about if that will actually result in a harvest. So these are 4 different containers of carrots. And I forgot to mark them, but they are black nebula carrots, a rainbow variety, and some ox heart carrots. A kid played in this one, so there's a blank spot in the middle. But those are my carrots. Here are a little pot of chives that are just starting to bloom. And this is a pot of just some perennial wildflower seeds that my daughter planted in there last year, and those have come back. This is the first raised garden bed that we have here. Down here in a pot below are just some buttercrunch lettuce. This is a lacinato kale that bolted and went to seed. I had a couple of those, but I pulled them all out and left just this one so it can finish flowering, and I want to save the seeds on that. Same thing goes with this little cabbage here.
That's what I got.
What do you have?
I have an apple tree.
Okay.
But
Where'd you get that from?
I got it from the gas station.
So the same thing here with this little cabbage. This is it's meant to be a smaller variety of cabbage. I actually forgot the name right now, but it's also bolting, so I left it so I can save its seeds. Along the back here on this little string trellis is some sugar snap peas that are growing nicely. And then inside here I have some red Russian kale that's still very small. Another kale. I think this is a cabbage that I started from seed. It's actually a couple clumped together. I need to separate those. And I just stuck that there, and I can't remember what it is exactly. But I have some various little radish seedlings that are sprouted. These are all radishes. This is actually, right there, that little guy here. It's actually an icicle radish. Let's pull him up. It looks good. I'm excited about those. I've never grown icicle radishes before, but they look really nice. So I have a bunch of other little ones that are coming up. This bed is mainly just radishes. All right, over here in this other bed is another trellis that has peas sprouting. You can see the peas popping up right there. These are called June peas. So a friend of mine, Miss Sarah Burton, she gave me these June peas in a little baggie, and I went ahead and planted them, but I'm honestly not sure if June pea, if that's like a regional term, or if that's a specific variety of pea.
Many flowers. We're growing many flowers.
I tried to Google it, but I really couldn't find information on it. I think it's more of a regional term, and it's just a general type of English pea, but we'll see as it grows. Okay, so in this bed I have buttercrunch lettuce here, some more various little radishes that I just stick in the blank spots. This is another red Russian kale, a curly leaf kale. That's a bigger curly leaf or blue Scotch kale that has bolted and is going to seed as well as this big boy here. He's a larger cabbage that bolted, so I'm just letting him go to seed as well. And here I have various spinach with little radish seedlings poking up between. This is the spinach that I've had growing since I planted it in September of last year, and most of them have been these tiny little things, and these are just now starting to grow, but I'm kind of disappointed that it's taken them so long, but I guess that's my fault because of the lack of sunlight. I also have a few of those same spinach plants down here, and these are some radishes in there as well. What do you have there?
I have a little cup. I have a little plant.
Who is that for?
It's for you.
Aw, thank you. That's so sweet.
I put water in it and then put a flower in it. So it could be a little tiny plant.
Thank you, son. I love you.
That's my garden bed.
All right, good job. So back here in this corner are our hydrangeas. This tiny little guy is a little limelight hydrangea. He's got green blooms on him. This is called Endless Summer, and it has kind of a pinkish purplish blooms. They kind of vary in tone. And this monster back here, I mean, he's huge. He came with the house. I keep calling it a he, but that's just a monstrous hydrangea. So this hydrangea back here, it was planted at this house. It came with the house when we bought it. And the first season, it was just beautiful. I thought it was the prettiest hydrangea I've ever seen. And every year it just continues to grow and grow and grow. And right now, like, it's gotta be 8 feet tall at least. It's a big thing, but it puts out the most beautiful blue and purple blooms, and it's covered in it, and it will stay pretty for a really long time this summer. And I also love it because that window behind it, that's where my kitchen table is. So every morning when I sit down to drink my coffee, I get to look out and see that hydrangea. So this is a flower bed on the side of my house. Here we have an assortment of just purple irises that were here when I bought the house. And this climbing rose right here, we got this trellis and put this trellis up just a month or so ago. My mother-in-law, who lives in Kentucky, her mother, we always called her Granny Bingham. So Granny Bingham had this big climbing rose that grew in her backyard, and she has since passed, but my mother-in-law, she took cuttings from it and rooted it, and she gave us one of the cuttings. So this is a pink climbing rose. I wish I knew the name of it, but we just call it Granny's Rose, and it has grown so much since it was given to us. We officially put it in this spot and gave it its own trellis, so this is its spot where it's gonna stay. All right, so next to Granny's Rose here is this new rose. We just planted that this spring. It's called an Oregon Gold. It has deep yellow blooms on it. And this rose was given to me, I guess 2 years ago for, I think it was Valentine's Day. My dad gave me this rose. It's actually a miniature rose with tiny little red blooms on it. But everything is growing so well, and these should be blooming in no time. Over here in this garden bed, I planted dahlias. So these pink tags here are dahlias. They were just planted about a week and a half ago. And I have a layer of compost over them.
What have you put on my toe?
You did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, are you okay?
Yeah.
All right. I have, I think, about 10 dahlias here, and I do have one that is sprouting up here. That's called a lucky number 7. But I'm eager to see the rest of these dahlias sprout up. When these dahlias sprout up, I do plan on mulching the rest of the bed with the mulch so it will match over there. And I'm thinking of also planting some zinnias and cosmos in the blank spots just to kind of fill this bed in. But we'll wait till our freezing temperatures pass. You all right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're around to the front of our house. These trees here, I actually just discovered that those are loquat trees. I did not know what they were for the longest time, but loquats are actually edible fruit. So I'll have to pay more attention to those trees this year. This is another rose that was here when we bought the house. I think it is another type of knockout rose, but it's already blooming. How pretty is that? It's looking good. These bushes are actually loropetalum bushes that were ginormous, so we cut those back pretty heavily this year, and they're just beginning to sprout back out. This is a rose that we just planted this spring. It is called a red masterpiece, and my son Luke picked that out. He loves the color red because of his red hair. And then on the porch, I just have a collection of potted plants and my beloved greenhouse that holds all my seedlings. This is my fiddle leaf fig and some rays today. These are just some little Thumbelina zinnias, Japanese maple, and this is actually a pineapple plant that I saved by cutting the top off of a pineapple. We've had that for about a year now, and I'm hoping to see some good growth on it this season. So here's my greenhouse. It has all of my seedlings in it for the summer garden. I have a ton of peppers and tomatoes. Well, I say a ton. It's a ton to me. It's the most I've ever grown. So to me, it's a ton. But peppers, tomatoes, and some assorted flowers, and some herbs, basil and parsley. and time. And anything else I'm forgetting? Let me show you a peek in there. Okay, so in here in the greenhouse I have, these are just some assorted flowers, marigolds, zinnias, and cosmos, and a few little basil plants in there. I just started these cucumbers yesterday, so they have not had a chance to sprout. But these are actually 2 different types of cucumbers, National Pickling, or excuse me, Chicago Pickling, Muncher, and then I have some Kajari melons. These are some nasturtiums, and I have 2 flats of peppers, some shishito, mini bell, fish, and poblano. Here's some Zulu and some California Wonders. And these are some more zinnias, cosmos, and some cucamelons here. These are little watermelon striped, tiny little cucumbers. Over here on this side, we have some more tomatoes, some Amish paste, Brad's Atomic Grape, Paul Robeson, some Black Beauties. Here we have some Cherokee Purple, Brandywines, some more Amish paste, and some Dr. Witchies down there. These are actually some little zinnia seeds that my son Micah planted. Here are some more tomatoes. Again, Brad's Atomic Grape. These are my Heather's Mystery Tomato. Those are from a friend. Some mystery seeds that she hasn't told me what they are yet, so it's an exciting adventure to grow them. And then down here we also have some Better Boys, some red cherry tomatoes, and Hungarian Heart, some type of paste tomatoes. Hey guys, welcome back to the second part of my pre-season garden tour here. So it's about 2 days later from the first part of this video, and I showed you everything I had at home, and I intended to bring you out that very same day and show you what I have in my big no-dig garden, which is just a few small things. It's mainly a blank canvas right now. Well, I didn't get a chance to shoot it because we had a big thunderstorm roll up and we actually had a tornado warning. And then I had to work, and so we're just not getting out here today. So this is my big no-dig garden. It's my big project this year in an attempt to grow more vegetables and more food without the weed pressure, and do it in just a better way that improves the soil. Thank you. Can you hold it for me while I talk?
Yeah.
All right, you go walk the rows. So in my big garden here, I only have a few things because I'm waiting on the official last frost date to be able to plant all my warm weather stuff. We actually just had a frost last night, and I knew it was coming, and I protected all my little seedlings that I have growing at home, and some flowers that I had planted at home, I protected them, but I honestly did not think that my potatoes would be affected by the frost. Some things that I had read about them said they will handle a light frost. So I didn't take any measures to protect them, and I'm really regretting it now because they look pitiful. Honestly, I was really quite bummed about it. So today, before I leave, I'm gonna mound the rest of the potatoes that I have up with straw and cover them with a row cover because we do have another frost coming tonight. Hopefully after that frost, we'll be in the clear, but I'll just show you. A good amount of damage was done to them. Are you having fun, Micah? So this is my potato row here. On this end we have Adirondack Blue, and these are looking okay. But as we move on, just terrible frost damage on the vast majority of the leaves. I'm really just heartbroken because they looked so good just yesterday, and I should have come out here and shot a video yesterday before the freeze, but alas, this is what they look like now. So this morning when I got home from work, I saw that the potatoes that I have in my grow bags at home had all suffered frost damage, and I just knew that all the good looking potatoes out here would have the same fate. So I posted some pictures and asked some questions on a Facebook gardening group for our area, and most of them said that just give them some time, protect them again from the frost that's upcoming tonight, but just give them some time and they will bounce back. So before we leave today, I'm going to mound those up with straw and cover them with a row cover just to protect them from any further frost damage tonight. So hopefully in a couple weeks they will start bouncing back, we'll see. But let me show you the rest of everything else we have going on here. So my big garden here is really a blank canvas at this point in time. We have those potatoes planted, and I have a few onions and cabbages and beets, which I'll show you down here. So this is my onion patch, which I planted, oh goodness, I can't remember now, 6 weeks ago? It's in the February. So it is a mixture of red Carmen onions and Pentium onions, and those are all sprouting up and doing pretty good. Down here I have, these are some beets and little cabbages, and down here we have some little broccoli starts. This is also some red Russian kale and a few other beets, and this is some curly leaf kale. Now these plants really just have not grown very well since I put them in. Now those little kale and cabbage starts and beet starts just really have not grown well since I put them in. I'm not sure if it was just an error on my part or just crazy weather, but I started those from seeds indoors, and I did the hardening off process and then planted them out here, and they really just have not grown very well. They're essentially the same size that they were when I transplanted them out. So I really don't know what is up with that and why they haven't grown. I also transplanted some out at in a pot in my backyard at home in different soil and potting soil out in full sun, and really the same results. I really just haven't had a lot of good growth with it. So I don't know if that's just the nature of those plants, or if I'm being impatient, or if they're just stunted and shocked for some reason. I'll see how it goes. So this is our strawberry patch here. We had a video just a few weeks ago of us weeding it and putting down compost, and they have really just rocketed off, and they look great. They're putting out tons of blooms now and lots of little baby berries there. I'm just excited about how those are gonna do this year. Little blooms there. Now we do have some damage. I think a deer ate that one. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. I'm kind of worried about the deer here eating the plants that we have already, and any future plants I put in the ground. So we may end up needing to put some fencing up. I'm not really sure yet. I'm just gonna wait and see how it goes. So in a few weeks, once I'm sure all the frost is over, I plan on putting all my little tomato and pepper seedlings out here and planting just a whole lot of food this year. Beans, corn, melons, cucumbers, okra, what else am I forgetting? Sweet potatoes. I have this whole big plan, so let me try to see if I can convey to you where I want to put things. So everything really is just a blank canvas right now, and honestly, I really love just looking at it the way that it is. We do have some more mulch to fill in these areas. We ran out of mulch and we need to go pick up another trailer load full, and we're gonna do that in the next few weeks. But just to give you an idea of what I have planned, on this furthest row out here, this is gonna be where watermelons go. I have about 4 different varieties of watermelons that I want to plant there, and I plan to direct seed those. On this next row, what do I have planned to put there? I honestly can't remember. I think I plan to put corn and sweet potatoes there. In these rows, I'm gonna have 2 arched trellises made out of cattle panel. I'm planning on having a total of 5 arched trellises that are gonna grow beans, red Chinese noodle beans, and Kajari melons. These middle rows are gonna have 2 long rows of okra, different types of okra, and big giant sunflowers. And then over here, I'm gonna have 3 cattle panel trellises that are standing upright that are gonna have tomatoes on them. So I'm hoping to have about 27, 29, we'll see how it turns out. Tomato plants, lots of peppers, and just some different zinnias and nasturtiums and cosmos and just different flowers sprinkled throughout. But I'm really excited for how this garden space is gonna shape up this year. There's so much potential here, and I'm really hoping to grow a whole lot of food. Anyway, so that is my garden tour. That's what I have going on this year. So many things are gonna change in the next few weeks as the weather really warms up and stays warm, and I'm able to really get planting. But I'm excited to see this blank canvas really turn into something lush and green, and I just hope the vision that I have in my head is gonna turn out to look as beautiful in real life as I'm envisioning it in my head. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I'm gonna go get these potatoes covered up before we head out and get them protected from the frost tonight. And in the next few weeks, we're gonna see a whole lot of change happen in this garden. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye.